Eliza lived in a quiet town that never seemed to breathe. Its streets were lined with faded brick houses, street lights that flickered at night, and alleys that seemed to stretch longer than they should. Even on sunny days, a gray haze lingered over the town, muting colors and softening sounds. Her home was no sanctuary. Her mother worked late into the night at a call center, her voice hoarse and sharp when she returned. Her father spent hours in front of a flickering television, muttering about news Eliza did not understand. Her younger brother laughed easily, oblivious to the heaviness that clung to her like wet clothes. Eliza felt invisible. At school, she tried to smile, to participate, to act like she belonged, but whispers followed her everywhere. Classmates would glance at her and turn away. Invitations to parties or gatherings never came. She ate lunch alone, listening to the hum of the fluorescent lights, and imagining the empty hallways stretching into eternity. Sometimes, she would sit in her room staring at the wall, counting the cracks in the plaster, tracing shapes with her finger. Shadows moved in corners, stretching unnaturally. She imagined that maybe they were a lie, waiting for someone like her to notice. One rainy evening, Eliza sat on her bed listening to the water patter against the window. The wind rattled the panes, making a sound like whispered warnings. She was crying softly, a quiet rhythm that matched the storm outside. She felt utterly alone, as if the entire world had left her behind. Then she saw it, a figure at the edge of her room. Pale, translucent, hovering a few inches above the floor. It was a girl, about Eliza's age, with long black hair and eyes so dark they seemed to swallow the light. "Hello," the ghost said softly. "I've been waiting for someone like you." Eliza froze, her heart hammering. Something about the ghost was comforting, familiar. For the first time in months, she felt seen. "I am Eliza," she whispered. "I know," the ghost replied. "I can be your friend." And so began their nightly meetings. Every evening, the ghost appeared at her window or by her bed. They talked about the things Eliza could never say to anyone else: her sadness, her fears, the emptiness that followed her everywhere. She named the ghost Liora, and Liora seemed happy to listen. Eliza's days began to feel lighter. At school, she still felt invisible, but she no longer sank entirely into despair. She would look forward to the night, to the moments she spent with Liora. They played imaginary games, told stories, and even laughed. Liora had a strange way of knowing exactly what to say, perfectly understanding Eliza's pain. Eliza's parents noticed subtle changes. She smiled occasionally, spent more time drawing and writing, and seemed less withdrawn. But the glow of relief was fragile, like morning sunlight that would vanish behind a cloud. Yet, as the days went on, subtle oddities began to appear. Objects in her room would shift slightly when she wasn't looking. The air would grow inexplicably cold. Sometimes, she would hear faint whispers when Liora was not present, calling her name, urging her closer to the shadows. Eliza tried to ignore it. She clung to the only friend she had. Brought her solace. Night brought vivid dreams. In one, she walked a black river reflecting faces twisted in anguish. Shadows slithered behind trees, following silently. Liora appeared, guiding her through the surreal nightmare, always offering safety. Another dream placed Eliza in a distorted version of her town. Streetlights bent unnaturally, houses leaned at impossible angles. People moved like ghosts, hollow-eyed and silent. Shadows whispered, calling her name, pulling her into darkness. Liora always appeared, offering comfort, her presence warming the icy dread. Eliza sketched her dreams. Jagged shapes, faces with hollow eyes, hands reaching out. Her pen trembled. Pages filled quickly. Internal thoughts: I can almost feel it calling me. Maybe if I stay long enough, I'll belong somewhere I can rest. Gradually, Liora changed. Her once soft voice gained a sharp edge. Shadows in the room shifted independently. Sometimes, Eliza saw Liora's reflection where no mirror existed: in windows, in polished floors, in puddles outside. "You belong with me," Liora said one night, perched on the edge of her bed. Her voice was no longer comforting. There was a hunger beneath it. "We can leave everything behind. You don't need anyone else." Eliza hesitated. Part of her wanted to say yes. She was tired of the world, tired of loneliness, tired of existing in a gray reality. One afternoon, Eliza found a dusty tome in the town library. Its pages described spirits that attached themselves to lonely souls, whispering comfort and love to gain trust. Some spirits were demons, feeding on despair, guiding humans toward destruction. Her stomach turned as she read. Features of the spirit, the comforting whispers, the shadows, they all matched Liora. Fear gripped her, but she had already trusted Liora more than anyone. Leaving her now felt impossible. One night Liora appeared, pale face glowing faintly. "It's time," she said softly. "Come with me. I will take you where you belong. You'll never be alone again." Eliza's heart raced. Her instincts screamed to run, but the pull of relief was overwhelming. She stepped closer. The room darkened. Shadows curled like tendrils. Liora's eyes glinted with terrible hunger. "You've trusted me," she whispered. Now you'll see what trust really means. Eliza felt herself lifted, drawn toward the shadowy form of Liora. Panic surged but was drowned by exhaustion, by desire to escape the heaviness of her life. Shadows swallowed her, cold and unyielding. There was no pain, only a hollow void as darkness consumed her entirely. Her screams echoed silently, unheard. Liora, now revealed as a demon, hovered above, feeding on the despair she had nurtured. The town remained quiet. Windows stared blankly. Streets stretched into nothing. The storm outside passed. Eliza was gone, and the shadows, along with the demon, waited for the next lonely soul.